Hey everyone, welcome back. We are knocking one off the bucket list today. I took a trip from Austin, Texas to Orlando to spend one day at Disney. That's right, leaving early in the morning and coming back that night. My best friend, who is a Disney travel agent and former cast member, was joining me on this adventure, and once our Southwest flight got to Orlando, we grabbed a lift and we headed to the Ticket and Transportation Center. We were getting onto a ferry to head to Magic Kingdom by 9:23, and we were scanning our Magic Band into Magic Kingdom by 9:47. Walking on to Main Street USA is always the best feeling, and we were super excited to start our day. We had a lightning lane for Haunted Mansion, so we headed to Liberty Square for our first ride of the day. Haunted Mansion is actually one of my favorite rides at Magic Kingdom. Then we grabbed some waffles at Sleepy Hollow. The waffle that we enjoyed was one that had Nutella and strawberries on it, and it was delicious. Next, we headed to Adventureland for another lightning lane at Pirates of the Caribbean, and then it was coffee time. So as we were walking back to Starbucks, we passed the cheeseburger egg roll cart that's right outside of Adventureland. This cart is only open sometimes, so if you walk by and they're open, I highly recommend grabbing some because the egg rolls are delicious. After our snack, we headed to Tomorrowland to use our lightning lane for Space Mountain. After getting off the ride, it was about noon, and it was perfect timing to catch the Festival of Fantasy Parade. We walked back through Tomorrowland and were able to stand around the hub and had a great view of the parade where we could see all of the floats. I really love the Peter Pan float because I love all the colors. Maleficent is, of course, the star of the parade, so it was great to see her in action again. And then also great to always see Mickey and Minnie ending the parade. After the parade, we took a ride on the People Mover. Now, we had lightning lane passes for Tron in boarding group 78, but by 1:30 they were only in the 40s, and the boarding groups were going pretty slow. So we knew it was going to be a while before we were called, and we wanted to be at Epcot by 2 since we didn't have very long there at all. So we made the sad decision to forego our lightning lanes and head to Epcot. So we took a ride on the monorail from Magic Kingdom and made our way into Epcot, and we were there by 2 o'clock. While we were there, Epcot was having the Flower and Garden Festival, which meant there were flowers everywhere and tons of topiaries of Disney characters. It's a beautiful time to visit, and I highly recommend checking out this festival if you can. The first ride that we went on was Spaceship Earth, and then we had a lightning lane for Soaring, so we headed over to the Land's Pavilion. After we got off Soaring, we checked out Living with the Land. I always love to see all the different plants that they have in the greenhouse and check out all of the hidden Mickeys that the scientists put out for us to see. And it's just a really cool ride that focuses on all of the agricultural developments that are actually developed by scientists right there at Disney. After we left the Land's Pavilion, we hit up the Brunchcott Festival booth. And there we had amazing shrimp and grits, a lox Benedict, and a Joffrey's Coffee cold brew cocktail. After this, we did the single rider line at Test Track. It's a great way to beat that 65-minute wait, and we were probably walk-ons. Maybe had to wait 3 minutes, that is it. And then it was time for the Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind ride, which is one of our favorites and probably made the whole day worth it in itself. After that, it was time to head into the countries. And I know that this is usually up for debate, but we started our adventure going into Canada only because we were hungry and we wanted to stop for some snacks again. And so we stopped in the English Pavilion and got some fish and chips, and we actually went down to some tables that were by the water right next to the pub, and we were able to have our little snack right on the water. It was so nice and perfect. There were some really cute flower displays and fun topiaries to see from the stretch of Canada all the way going into the UK. After that, we hit up Fleur de Lis, also known as the France booth. And France is usually my favorite festival booth to hit up. I just love all the food that they have. And we enjoyed a chocolate tart and, of course, a La Vie and Rosé frozen slush. Both were so equally delicious, and I highly recommend them. Now, sadly, it was time to start heading back to try to catch a lift. We stopped at the Connections Cafe and grabbed one last Starbucks before we headed to the airport. Our Southwest flight took off at 9 o'clock for Austin, Texas, and when we got back into Austin, it was a torrential downpour. So we hung out in the Austin parking garage for a little bit to let all of that bad weather pass. We took this trip because it was a bucket list item and we were celebrating 20 years of friendship. And we really had a blast. Now, would we recommend it? Actually, I would say yes. I really loved that I only had to miss one day of work. And yes, the day before was a little crazy, and the day after I was very tired, but I enjoyed not having to take that much time off work. There wasn't a whole lot of planning that really had to go into it, like a Disney trip where you're going for a few days. We didn't have to pack anything, so that was really fun. But I loved it, and I would love to do it again and hit up more parks.